Hello, hello. I think I am live. Can everybody hear me and see me? Welcome, everybody. I've got a stick in the way of the comments, which is not very sensible of me. Can you hear me and see me? Yeah, we are going cross-eyed reading months worth of comments. Haven't quite got round to it at the moment. Tessa says yes. Ria says yes. Excellent. So you can hear and see me. Graham has nodded off. Neither of us went to sleep at all last night because we were terrified we'd missed the taxi, which was coming in the middle of the night, as you know, and then it was an early flight, and we arrived in Gibraltar time at 10:30. It's been a very, very busy day because when I got back, our lovely guard dog in the house, who'd been looking after our cat, is a gentleman, and had some other gentlemen staying as well. And bless them, they had done the washing up. They firstly had used every single plate, cup, saucer, knife, fork, spoon in the house entirely. And then they washed it all up, but not very well. And so I've cleaned the entire house. I'm quite proud of myself. I even polished the mirrors and washed the windows today. And I've been shopping, and I've managed to cook a roasted chicken for tonight. And Graham has quite understandably zonked out. He's gone to sleep and is sleeping like a baby. So we will be doing the Christmas lives from, I think, probably the 15th, because The Crown is out on the 14th. And as we all know, it's going to feature Catherine and William. So I'd like to watch that. And then that gives us, for those of you who do watch Netflix, I did resubscribe especially for The Crown. And once I've seen it, then I'll probably unsubscribe again, because there just doesn't seem to be anything on Netflix that really grabs my fancy. Now, my video today, there I mentioned what I stupidly called the common practices. It's one of my malapropisms. Mrs. Malaprop was a woman in Edwardian, there we go again, Edwardian times, who used the wrong word for the wrong meaning. It is actually the civil procedures, which was pioneered by Lord Wolfe. And this is my book. And this is a second edition, and it's written by Paula Loughlin, who's a solicitor, and Stephen Gurlis, who's a district judge. The first edition was 2001, and the second edition, which I've got, is 2004. So this is incredibly out of date. But the general principle of civil procedures was to try and get some ground rules to create a level playing field for everybody who wants to go to court in a civil matter, because it's a really terrifying thing going to any court, and in a civil court it's very, very serious. So, and as I was explaining this morning, they're called applications. Now, I won't bore you by reading out chunks of the book, but I'll read you some of the headings of a particular section. I had to read this book in 2 weeks and learn it fast, really fast, because I was representing myself, which is even more scary. Right, I think it's this one, is chapter 34, and it is called Costs of Proceedings. And it basically covers, as I said earlier, sometimes the judge will order costs at a hearing. Sometimes they won't. They'll delay it till later, or sometimes they'll just go, no, you're not getting costs. And believe me, I've been in those hearings. I was in a particular one where the opposition wanted to claim costs from me, and the judge said, well, what have you got to say about that, Fiona? And I said, well, the other side only gave me 24 hours to make a decision about whether to sign something or not, knowing damn well I'm not a lawyer. And they were the ones who called the application. And he said, bloody right, they can pay costs. And then their side stood up and argued and said, oh, I went from being a moron apparently to, oh, quite eloquent. And then the judge said, well, we'll leave it for a later date. So cost of proceedings, definition and jurisdiction, cost orders made during the proceedings, which is, you know, what's happened to Harry. Harry went for a summary judgment, which was, he just thought he'd get it all wrapped up and the judge would go, like Warby, oh, guilty, Mail on Sunday's guilty. And they didn't. They said, no, this can go to trial, which is the last thing. You know, if somebody hasn't been quite straight with their story, it's the last thing they want is scrutiny, especially public scrutiny, isn't it? Absolutely the last bloody thing they want. The next one is court's discretion as to costs. Now, a large thing that happens in civil cases, and I think that Harry and his team may come unstuck on this, there are huge swathes of this book which talk about mediation and arbitration and case management. And basically, what Lord Woolf and others who've built on this is a developing part of the law, they want them to be reasonable. You know, they don't just want people to go to court and be bloody minded, and even when they get an apology, that's not getting out. Doesn't work like that at all. They want to see that both sides have genuinely tried to resolve this without the court's help, and you actually get brownie points for that. That was another thing that went against my defendants, that they bluntly refused to talk to me until the bitter end, when the final punishing blow came. And now I don't believe Harry has most likely, or his lawyers, been mediating with the lawyers of the Mail on Sunday. I could be wrong. Maybe they have been trying desperately to work this out. But I get the impression from the public point of view that what Harry wants is a fight. And he just hates the press. And he's not being very reasonable about it. And that could very well go against him in any eventual hearing of costs. Where the court might say, well, you could have avoided all this cost if you'd just spoken to the defendants and come to an agreement. It's along those lines. It's quite involved. And as I say, enormous chunks of this book, there is constant reference to mediation. Deemed cost orders, times when costs orders are made, the amount of the cost, fast track trial costs, costs of counterclaim in fast track and trial costs, costs on the small claims track and fast track, reallocation of a claim to another track, cost orders for misconduct, wasted cost orders in favour of or against a non-party, costs in favour of a trustee or personal representative, costs where money is payable by or to a child or patient, litigants in person, and costs of group litigation. Now, behind each of those headings are massive chapters. And it's not, I mean, I read it cover to cover to begin with. It's really a reference book where you're looking for, you look something up like a dictionary. So this is the thing, civil procedures. If anybody I'm sure there's probably online versions of this and PDFs that you could download, and you could even look up summary judgment, and they will be more current, I'm sure, on the internet than my book here. But I wouldn't have thought that general principles of just being reasonable and not being bloody minded would apply. And from the language that I heard the judge using the other day, he's not impressed with Harry's team at all. He's not impressed. And he wasn't going to take away that defence from the Mail on Sunday. And he thinks they have a likely prospect of winning on the defence of opinion. Free speech, because the golden one, if someone tries to sue you for defamation, for example, whether that's slander or libel, the gold standard defence is truth. What you have said is true. The second best one is it's your opinion. I mean, you can say, I think so-and-so is a wanker. That's your opinion. And there are enormous chunks, again, in this book and my defamation books, which go into, you know, how people can actually be bloody rude about each other. It's not necessarily defamation, and defamation is a whole minefield, believe me. I think it's not just a case you get a lawyer who's a specialist in defamation. There are probably lawyers who are specialists in libel, and others specialists in slander, and others specialists in certain types of defamation, that there'll be a whole bloody minefield over that. And I mean, actually what Harry is suing the Mail on Sunday for is really, in my opinion, quite pathetic. It wasn't the biggest crime of the century. They said he tried to hide the truth from the public. And that's another thing. If this comes into question that the public were going to pay for this through tax money, then the Mail on Sunday had every right in the public interest to let the public know and keep them informed, and the court can decide with them. Well, that's just my opinion, and I'm not a lawyer, and you know I might be full of shit. So how are all of you guys doing this evening? I'm going to try and move the stick so I can read a few of the comments. Oh, Harry's in the room again. I'm not a wanker. Harry just wants to censor us. Ah, yes, I saw something else. And no, it wasn't. The Harry and Meghan video, Christmas video, wasn't that cheerful and Christmassy? Oh dear. No, it wasn't that. It was that I saw the BBC reported that Archwell have filed their tax returns and that how much money they've given to various charities. Now, I mean, that's a whole minefield, and YouTubers like The Royal Grift are really much better at looking into all that. There was a particular thing that the BBC said, that they'd given something like £100,000 to a body, meaning an organisation, but they didn't name the name. They named all the others. They named all the other charities and organisations that have been beneficiaries, but not this one. A body, an entity, received something like £100,000 towards responsible technology. What's that all about? And I don't think that one will escape the royal grift. She will be going through that with a fine-tooth comb, she and other YouTubers, and looking into what is that body and what's that body trying to do. Because as we all know, there is a fine line between well-meaning and silencing and suppressing people's right to free speech. So I think that one will probably come up. I mean, these two, Meghan and Harry, they need more problems like Custer needed Indians, don't they? They're just, oh. Right, what's everybody up to? So hello, Foxy. For some reason, your comments keep catching my eye, Harry, all the time. They're trying to purchase newspapers, Lisa. Yeah, I think that's really quite a lame and pathetic idea. I mean, there's a reason the internet dominates these days and not newspapers or local radio stations. There's a whole segment in the Aspen report, Aspen Institute report. Well, the Aspen Institute is a big organisation, and this report was created, it was funded by the guy who used to own the website Craigslist. He funded it. But if you look at it, you can download that as well. There's a whole section on how the people who did the report believe that us plebs should listen to more local radio and read local newspapers, and we should basically not be on the internet. And then it suggests 3 forms of social media I've never heard of before. I think one of them was called Front Porch. I can't remember what the other two are called. They're like, well, you're not allowed to say fucking anything to anybody about anything. Let's drive them nuts. How about that fabulous Christmas card from the Prince and Princess of Wales? The children are lovely. And you know what? I was absolutely shocked and appalled to see on X how the sugars talk about those children. Is really disgusting, actually, really disgusting. Because I don't ever hear any of you guys say mean things about Lily and Archie. I think the worst is, we don't see them, do they exist? But I don't hear any of you ever say the things that I have seen on X, which are truly, truly revolting and would repel most people from their camp. Right, so let's see who's in the room. The lovely Pidina pointed us towards an interview that Paula M had done with NT Lawyer. Yeah, I saw that I didn't actually see it, but I saw it pop up. Blind items. He had some revealing things to say, presumably pretty accurate since, yeah, he's a very interesting guy, isn't he? Very, very interesting. And he's definitely got a perspective from an American Hollywood working point of view, definitely. Hello, has anyone seen my mum? Right, okay. Did you see Meghan's brother's live? He's living about New York Post lying about his father. No, I didn't. I started watching it. We've just both been so busy the last few days that we were in London I've watched a bit of Lady C this evening, and that's about the size of it. I've had to run in the background while I've been done all the beds as well. Yes, London London is a lovely city. It is a lovely city. It's very different to the last time that I went. Really, it's changed a lot. H&M are the biggest losers in the Hollywood Reporter. Yeah, I saw that. That's terrible, isn't it? I mean, I think that probably the worst label that they were given was fucking grifters, wasn't it? Definitely. That was damning, absolutely damning. Hello, Red Squirrel. Yes, hello, everybody. Thank you very much for turning up. And the Christmas lives will have fun. I'll put the tree up. I was saying to Ria, I might buy some really small artificial trees to go with it and have like a little forest going on or something. And we might do pajama parties some nights as well. And he said H wants to do nothing. Well, yes, that's probably what he's been doing most of his life. Hello, Kansas. Auntie Uncle Colin doesn't talk to me. Who's Colin? Who's Harry's Uncle Colin? I'm not familiar with that one. Foxy's there chatting all the ladies up. I like London myself. I love going on the tube. The tube is really different now. I mean, they've really revamped it. And I liked at Westminster Bridge, London Bridge, and I think it's Waterloo. They have kind of glass screens so people can't fall on the track anymore. And the train pulls up and the screens open as well as the doors. And I really like that. And yes, it's an extremely efficient service. Although I did a lot of work walking when Graham was actually in the hospital. I did a ton of walking every day back and forth. Everyone is saying Catherine is copying Meghan Markle, California chick. WTF, plus saying black and white is her style. At least these kids faced the camera. Well, I mean, the fact that people notice that Meghan, Diana, Catherine wear similar things. I mean, Diana wore so many different types of clothes. She was photographed for 15, 16 years. There wasn't much we hadn't seen her in, and Catherine equally. When it comes to Meghan, I am not a fan of a lot of her fashion choices, I have to say, and I've never seen Catherine dress like Meghan. It's just a different style. I'm just randomly clicking. Intel, Archie, if he's naughty, I'll get... Oh, that's naughty. That is naughty. Thank you. Graham is doing brilliantly well, and I think sleep is an excellent idea for him. I probably won't go to sleep till about 4 a.m. because I'm like that. When I've been up all the night before, then I'll just fall asleep probably about 3 a.m. I can do a full 24 hours. This copying malarkey is so childish, nothing new under the sun. Well, yes. I'm just not really into Meghan's sense of fashion. I find her quite, I don't know, she's really old-fashioned, I think. When a lot of the media and her fans say she's like forward-thinking, I don't know, I find her really, really very old-fashioned. She loves all the beiges, doesn't she? And I remember all that in the 80s. A lot of people wore beige all the time. Tabitha, let's send in Trevor for a special forces to rescue you. All right, I think I'm interrupting a private conversation there. No, Catherine doesn't need to copy Meghan at all. Oh, what it would be to be a fly on the wall where the royal family are at the moment, wouldn't it? The Prince and Princess of Wales did a black and white photo for when they got together at engagement. Well, yes, I mean, you could go back years, and one of the reasons that I want to see this depiction of the crown is to see how they imagine the scenario between William and Catherine, and to emphasise, and it will emphasise to the audience, how long Catherine has been connected to the royal family, which is a couple of decades, isn't it? And I'm hoping that that's going to come across quite strongly. Whereas Meghan, as we all know, has only been there a very, very short time. Yes, it would be very difficult to find a style of clothing Diana hadn't worn. And I look at Diana now, and her style is absolutely timeless. She's still, if she just walked in the room today wearing the clothes she used to wear, she didn't really look 70s, 80s or 90s. She wore classic lines, very Chanel. So I think she looked stunning all the time. What I cannot understand is she cannot get a seamstress to tailor. Yes, it is strange, isn't it? The one that really makes me wonder, for example, when she went to Harlem and she wore the red trouser suit, and her trousers are like 4 inches too long for her, even in high heels. Can you imagine what they would look like once she takes the heels off? Can you imagine? Tom Markle Jr. just put out a video of him and his dad Christmas shopping in Mexico, buying kids' toys to donate to local charities. Her dad called her bitchy Meghan Markle on camera. Ooh, meow. The pussycat she's ecstatic, absolutely ecstatic, because apart from anything else, the guys in the house, they never lit the fire once. So she's had the fire lit tonight. She's actually behind me at the moment on the sofa. I'll see if Graham's fast asleep on the sofa as well, so he might not like that. Princess Anne also wears clothes from decades ago and still wonderful. Yes, Princess Anne, particularly in the last 10 years, has really come into her own. I mean, when she was a young princess, she was very glamorous. And then when she was in her first marriage, she just sort of went through a phase where she didn't really care. But these days, oh yeah, she looks magnificent. Meghan does not need to be treated the same as Meghan. They're not the same people and have different relationships with people. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I can't see where these two are going to go. I mean, the Hollywood thing isn't working at all, is it? It's an uphill struggle, let's put it that way. And Omid Scobie, of course, with, I'm certain, help from little birds tweeting in his ear, has made things a million gazillion times more awkward and difficult. And now, I'm not quite sure who produced the letter that the Queen asked Sir Edward Young to write. Was that produced by Harry's team? Or was that produced by the defence? That's the bit I'm confused about, because if that was produced by Harry's team, firstly, is he fucking stupid? It makes it clear the Queen and the royal family and Sir Edward Young wanted Harry and Meghan to have security, which completely undermines everything Harry said. And also, didn't he realise that he's got a lot of other court cases going on, and some of the defendants in them might have thought, that's a handy piece of evidence for my lawsuit where Harry's suing me. I mean, are his lawyers even thinking? What is going on? Is David Sherborne representing him in all of them, or just the phone hacking thing? The what are they called? The Whippet Stuff Bunch, or the Hugh Grant and the others. She'll get 2 jobs. I'm not sure she'll get any jobs. I think what she'll get is maintenance, a divorce settlement and maintenance, because she's not going to get a job. She won't. Who would want to work with her? Would any of you guys, forget Meghan for a minute, let's just say that you knew someone in your life who was uppity, difficult, argumentative, bolshy, wanted to take over, had terrible ideas, was liable to fling accusations of racism, possibly sexual assault, anything, other god-awful accusations, maybe sue you. Would you go anywhere near somebody like that? And Meghan herself and Harry have now built reputations as troublemakers and litigious people who will go out of their way. Can you see anybody? Look, I've got my special teapot that my daughter bought me. It's like a teapot that sits in the cup. So she got it for me from Morrison's when she used to work there. It's kind of cool, that. It's having tea. Haven't done any sandwiches like Raffles, but I will be. I love those little tiny sandwiches with the crusts cut off. I know. Terribly babyish. Oh, don't forget liars. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there was a Meghan supporter, not a nasty, but a Meghan supporter sort of saying they didn't believe that she'd had any involvement in writing Finding Freedom. And I said, well, they did. And they said, but it wasn't direct. It was through their communications secretary. It doesn't matter. And the email Harry wrote saying we have to be able to deny we had anything to do with this book. I think that's probably one of the most incredible things that he's ever said, apart from Meghan never said anything about racism on Oprah. You cannot libel the dead. Yep. I can imagine. Oh, yes. You're thinking, Thomas, aren't you? That, I mean, no one's going to believe it. No one's going to believe any further allegations. It's too much, too many. And you get to the point where people just say, liar, liar, pants on fire, don't they? Understandably so. Meg models charity shop clothes. She's getting a job at one. A dummy that wears clothes that are way too big. I find it strange that the merch queen doesn't use the kids. Well, I mean, that's a weird one. As you know, I'm not really into the kids at all. But it is odd that we don't know what they look like. That's a big thing for the royal family. The reason that the monarch is on the money and the stamps, I believe, is because in olden days, when there was no TV and newspapers were, not everybody could read hundreds of years ago, something everybody was going to use was stamps and money. And so that was a way of having a depiction of the monarch. So everybody would recognize the monarch. And then it's evolved from there. So it is really peculiar to have a couple of members of the royal family. Nobody knows what they look like. Now, if they were Miss and Master, well, that's one thing, but they're not. There was a huge kickoff and a demand for the titles, Prince and Princess. So, I mean, those titles, those ranks are not to be sniffed at, and nobody knows what they look like. But yeah, I mean, it will be a situation that will grow larger. It's like I've said before, if you're tiling a room and you make an itty bitty little mistake, as you go across the room, it gets bigger and bigger. Well, what's going to happen, for example, 16th birthdays, 18th birthdays, 21st birthdays, people comparing photographs of people who are older to the very rare childhood photos and going, I mean, not me, but people will. It breeds conspiracy theories. People will go, I'm not sure if that 21-year-old is actually the little girl that we saw a picture of 21 years ago, little Lily. I'm not convinced, and it sets the kids up for a terrible time. Terrible time. I was listening to someone commenting that IPA status Harry is going to get will not only cover security for his wife and children, but also Doria. I hope that covers Meghan's father as well. That I don't know. I mean, royal protection, I don't know anything about that. I'd imagine that is a really specialist area of law that very, very few people know about or are expert on. I don't know if Harry wins his security case to what degree, whether he will get international, whether he'll get security in America. I mean, it's the courts, I think, have already established. When he is in the UK, he receives security. When he is not in the UK, he does not receive security. So why is he saying he feels less safe in the UK than everywhere else in the world? Excuse me. I mean, his brain is addled, isn't it? I think I'm going to give up listening to the shit and just wait for the fallout. Those kids are going to be so messed up if they exist. They are. They are. They've been set at a horrible disadvantage in life. Even most recent occupants of the White House with young children, the Obamas, didn't hide their girls away. No, neither did young Baron Trump. No, exactly. Exactly. I mean, I don't know what various. I know Baron Trump is. I know what he looks like. I know what the Obama girls look like. But for example, Nigel Farage, his kids were getting a hard time at one point because of his policies, his political beliefs, which I think is very, very wrong. No children should be picked on because of the beliefs or political ambitions of a parent. I should know. Been there, done that. But presumably you could Google Nigel Farage's children and there'd be photographs that come up. Whereas, you know, members of the royal family, I'm not sure with those two. But what I would bring to light, in case you were not aware, as I definitely did not know that Doria was compensated for her care of the grandchild and being there for her daughter, was she? I really don't know. Doria is a mystery to me. I don't know anything about her at all. Only what I saw on the Harry and Meghan Netflix docuseries, and she didn't feature particularly heavily in it. So they want IPP for Doria too. Well, I mean, whatever decision is made, if it is going to be taxpayer funded by any country, there must be transparency, not on the delicacies of how they go about protecting people, because obviously that should remain secret, but on who's getting it, who's paying for it, to what extent, and is it for popping to the hairdressers or a restaurant or a nail boutique, or is it for doing official duties, etc., etc. That is a matter for public interest. I really can't understand why they don't show lovely family photo ops at key events. I know. I mean, they go to, Harry went to Formula One, they go to sports events. Surely Archie would love that sort of thing. And I mean, don't know about you guys out there that have kids. When my two were little, I loved showing them off, you know, and having them. In fact, we rarely went anywhere without them. We went as a group everywhere, which was quite exhausting. I mean, if we went to a restaurant, we took them with us, obviously when they were little. Great. They both screamed the odd restaurant down and we had to leave in great shame. But the more we took them to restaurants, the more they got used to it, and then they learned to sit and join in and not scream restaurant down until everyone had evacuated with bleeding ears. So I find it really, oh my God, the whole family are here. Oh, are they? Oh, have we got representatives? Do we have King Charles? I haven't got my glasses on at the moment. Unless Harry moves back to the UK and lives in a country house and after a while sues for his children, those poor children will be raised under wing. Well, it's, I mean, the whole privacy thing has been a real lunacy. Doesn't having IPP status mean you cannot be sued or make accountable for anything? I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure, because I'm not a Ravek expert. I'd never even heard of this Ravek before. I mean, that's the other thing. By Harry doing all these lawsuits, talk about megaphone, telling everybody, he's putting himself under intense scrutiny. I suppose he believes genuinely in his own pea brain that he's right and that he'll get loads of sympathy from everybody, which isn't quite working out for him. Because that's another thing. A lawyer told me years ago, this was before I sued these guys. He said, even when somebody is 100% in the right, the court can still go against you. So think very, very, very carefully about it. And the problem, as I see it, is Harry's arguments are pretty bad. And now he's painted himself into a corner because either he drops this thing against the Mail on Sunday and has egg all over his face, and will end up paying all the costs because, you know, he'd be the one bringing it to a halt. Or he goes ahead and all horrible details come out and for the world to see and everybody to report on, and it will get worse and worse and worse. In fact, I do kind of worry for Harry a bit because I think he's a little feeble-minded, let's be kind, and I do worry about him doing something really stupid, really, really stupid and irreversible. And he seems to be the one hurting himself and his family the most from where I'm sitting. He's doing an awful lot of damage to everybody. Shut up, Harry. Shut up, Harry. Have we got Meghan in the house? Well, yeah. I mean, I'd never even heard of IPP status before all of this. Had any of you guys? I didn't know any of this. The little ones are so little, they're too little to be seen in public. Well, the thing is, Catherine took photographs of hers and she'd do them on birthdays. Now, how old is Archie? He's 4. And Lily, I suppose, 2. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really follow them. Yeah, it's quite normal to have your kids go everywhere with you. I mean, our mums babysat if we were working in the boatyard or places where we really couldn't have them around. But most of the time they were with us. You know, Graham and I never went out to the pub, just the two of us. Well, none of us went to the pub. We go to a restaurant, a family restaurant. That was, for me and Graham, that was a fun thing to do, and we would take kids with us. And they developed a really good sense of humour. By the time Benji was 3, Sammy was about, Faith, sorry, she changed her name. She was 5. I mean, they were already having us in stitches. That's a very good point. From what I've heard, there is an essential and unpleasant reason why Prince Harry might require this. Could you elaborate, Anna Perkins? Do you think that's because he may do something silly to himself? Right. KB. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's very kind of you. I cleaned it up today. You should have seen it earlier. My goodness me. All men in the house. Good grief. Not that men don't clean, so don't get excited, but the men we had staying in the house. What I will say is the cat was still alive when we got back, and she has been fed and had her toilet changed. And that's really what I asked them to do. Make sure the house was safe. I didn't specify anything about house cleaning. And I didn't actually mind cleaning it. I was just so happy to be back. I think if they get IPP status, they can get away with everything and no law can touch them. So watch out, everyone. Well, yeah, and would they get access to people's personal data? That's something I think everybody should worry about. They will probably have pictures of their dogs on their Christmas card, since they never show the children's faces. They cannot put the back of their heads, as that's what's recognisable to the public. I heard having IPP status would give Harry access to all the private information anyone he has a grudge against. I wonder. Yes, Harry is definitely. I mean, I've learned so much about royal protection thanks to Harry and his book. You know, it makes no sense. Doria is happy to look after her grandchildren, but couldn't be there for her own daughter. Well, yeah. I mean, I really don't know. I don't know anything about Doria. I obviously have heard what theories people have. The Princess Royal only gets public funding, when on official duty, as does the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. Absolutely, and others. There's the cat. And she wants me to let her out. Not right now, kitty. Those kids are not experiencing normal upbringing. Well, no, it sort of reminds me of Michael Jackson's children. And I saw them on a documentary not that long ago. They're all grown up now, of course. And 2 of them seem quite close, but they do seem very hermit-like and a little out of sorts compared to other people of their age. Yes, he could get diplomatic immunity. I don't know. I don't know. Kitty! Remember when we had to pick her up from the lost and found? The police looked so confused. If we don't have transparency about the kids' births yet in the line of succession, yes, you have a very valid point there. Anyone who is in the line of succession, if you go on the royal website and you look at the line of succession, we did a live a few weeks ago, about a couple of months ago, about this, that everybody who is in the line of succession must be a direct descendant of Sophia, the Electress of Hanover. So you can go on there and you can read all about her. She was George I's mum. And so everybody must come from her, because before her, there was a dodgy baby in a bedpan. And that's why they went with her. So it's a big thing. And all the signatures on all the births, everybody's done it. And then suddenly there were no signatures. So you're absolutely right. If they're not on the website, they're not in the line of succession, it's nobody's business. They're private citizens with no titles. If they have titles, they're on the website and they're in the line of succession. Yes, that's when you guys, particularly the British, come into it. And I would actually include not only Commonwealth, but Americans, because a member of our royal family is an American, and two children are, okay, don't shoot me, two children are half American and half English. So I think America has become part of the wider public family of the royal family, because there's the royal family, then there's the British public, that we're like the extended relatives. That's how a monarchy works. We're the subjects. Then there's the Commonwealth, and then there's the rest of the world. But I would include America in the family of it, as well as the Commonwealth and United Kingdom subjects. I mean, you cannot have it both ways. You can't have titles and be hidden, and receive public funding and be hidden. It doesn't work like that. You can't have titles and cash in on them. Oh, have we got really 1,365? Wow, I had no idea. What is it, Harry? This missing money was funding my mother-in-law's habit. This is a parody account, okay? Just before, because I really get it in the neck over on X from the Sugars. My God, they're vile. They really are. It was totally wrong that Wally was attacked for asking about the legitimacy of the line of succession. Absolutely, absolutely. And especially being Welsh. The Prince and Princess of Wales. Now, I was reading about this not long ago, and I mean, I stupidly never realised that Wales is a principality, you know, like Monaco. And that's why the Prince and Princess of Wales, it's really quite a separate entity. I think it goes back to Edward Longshanks. Just showing my ignorance there. If there are any historians out there, or lawyers for that matter, they're probably dying of shame and cringing at my lack of knowledge on everything. That's not makeup, Papa. Mummy says it's powered to her nose. Foxy's still there chatting all the ladies up. In my opinion, Wally got too close to the truth. She certainly did. I mean, when I first started watching Wally, I wasn't sure that her theories were spot on. And the more I watched and the more she kept pointing things out, the more I ended up thinking, do you know, I don't know what's going on there, but something strange is going on there. And as I've said many times, when people are trying to hoodwink others, they don't like the line of sequence of events, the correct timeline. They don't like scrutiny. I mean, look at all the lies. Omid Scobie, Harry, in his book, everything's upside down, contradicting each other. It's like, I think it was Richard Eden from the Daily Mail. Does he work for the Daily Mail? I hope he's not watching, because if he doesn't work for the Daily Mail, he's going to be thinking, what? But Richard Eden, anyway, I'm sure it was him who said, their stories don't make sense because they turned down going, this is their version, they turned down going to Hugh, I forget his name now, Duke of Westminster's wedding, because they didn't want awkward scenes with the family. But they've been phoning Charles and asking to go and spend time with the family over Christmas. Which is it? It's like, it's not so much YouTubers or journalists or the press that are going out of their way to make them look bad and stupid. They're doing it themselves. They're coming out with this version, that version, that version, no, this version, now that version. Especially Harry. He gets so muddled. Kitty, I'll let you out in a little bit. In a little bit. We'll be finishing in about 15 minutes, okay? What is it with cats? They always want to go out. And then they want to come in. Megan is getting a parking ticket for spending too long in the car park. Yeah, what is it with that chick in car parks? Did you see that Johnny Depp had Met thrown out of the church in Ireland? Check out Royal Revelations. No, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. They can't keep their lies straight. No. It's extraordinary. I mean, it started out at the beginning like, but it's getting more extreme now, isn't it? Well, you know, even people with a vague passing interest are like, well, I thought you said this. And apparently Mogg gave Scooby the names knowing he would publish them so she could sue them. No, I didn't think she would show the seeds for her book. Well, that's a possibility, I suppose, a strategy. Now William has George, Charlotte, Louis. Yes. Not even 20 years. Not even in 20 years. Look at those kids now. They are growing up fast. I was actually thinking, like, where are we going to be in 5 years from now? We're going to be looking at teenagers, and they're going to really come into their own, and they will be the new, young, fresh royal blood. And where will Auntie Meghan and Uncle Harry be? They are going to be like Wallace and David, aging into insignificance, having made absolute fools of themselves. Hello, Michelle. I just saw Michelle Pope. I should put my glasses on. Good evening to you too. Good morning. Shalon Lester once reported that had hired 3 PR firms when most celebrities only worked with 1 or 2 at most. Well, it's possible she fell out with 1 or 2 and moved on to 3. That's possible, isn't it? There's reports Johnny Depp had kicked out of Shane McGowan from the Pogues funeral. Yeah, I'd heard something about that. Edward received $21,000 per year, approximately 1.4 million in today's money, according to the Express 2020. Which Edward? Do you know, when I was standing outside the hospital, I went into a really old part of the hospital. I was sniffing around all these creepy, weird old places, and I found the original entrance. Which had been built apparently by the Victorians, and Queen Victoria laid the first stone. But when I first read it, it said, this hospital was founded by... Benjay! Shh! He's doing gaming on the landing. This hospital was founded by Edward the Sixth. And I really ignorantly said to Graham, who the hell was Edward the Sixth? And then I realised it was King Henry's son. And then Victoria thought it was a good idea to have that stamped in the stone. So I learned all about him, and I didn't realise that he was king for quite a few years. I'd always got the impression he was king for like 6 months and then died. He was a child king, but apparently I think he became king when he was 9 and died when he was 15. So that's a long comment. Do you think Harry and Kitty, please, shh. Do you think Harry and Meghan's marriage will last? No. I think it's been over for about a year, over a year. I do feel sorry for their young children. No child should ever have to go through divorce. I hope they stick it out for the sake of the children. Well, that's the age-old question, isn't it? Because do parents stay together and have an unhappy atmosphere? or do they separate and work together? It's yeah, that's a sticky wicket. That is a sticky wicket, and I do agree, because for kids, it is really upsetting if the mum and dad both split up. Artisan Gaia, WME2, we should have taken Fiona to Bar Italian instead of her letting her toddle over Westminster Bridge at 2 a.m. alone. Oh, actually, I've got to say, I mean, we were in very central London. We were in Zone 1. Found it so safe, really safe. Even with the protests, very rare, occasional protests that we saw, they were quite well organised. They seemed to cooperate with the police. There were protests for this, for that. Not just the thing going on in Gaza. I mean, protests for everything. It's like London. That is the thing London hosts the best, is a good old-fashioned protest. Let's have a protest. I didn't see any violence at all. In fact, I never heard anybody raise their voice in anger or jest or laughing. It's very quiet. And I know that the congestion charges are unpopular, but I've got to say there's very little traffic. Sometimes I wouldn't have to press the buttons to cross extremely busy roads that, I mean, I just couldn't get across years ago. Electric cars make it very, very quiet. There's these electric bicycles everywhere. It's quite weird. It's quite Orwellian, actually, what's going on in London at the moment. And it really creeped me out at first. But I sort of got into the vibe of it, and I made a few of them laugh, actually. They sort of seem surprised when someone smiles at them or cracks a joke. I have heard from a very good source, a close friend of my husband who is a journalist, recently a month ago, that Harry and Meghan definitely are not together. I can believe that because I'm going by my own interpretations of body language and the way they are. All this, oh, we're so in love, we're so in love, we're so in love, you know, laying it on too thick. And she's never been a particularly good actress. Hello, Moj. I find it quite weird that the Paps haven't tried to photograph the kids. They must know where the school is and the routine. Well, yeah, they're probably shit scared of getting sued, or more to the point, thinking it's not bloody worth it, is it? You know, who gives a toss? If they divorce, MM can keep children in the USA until they're 18 unless permanent residence is established to be in the UK. That is going to be another sticky wicket, isn't it? Because I think Archie, the custody of Archie is the monarch. So it was Elizabeth II and is now King Charles III. And isn't it weird that her name got taken off the birth certificate? And the palace said she did that, and she said the palace did that. What the hell was that all about? Harry is in a very different situation than his parents. From what I see, he's a horrible parent to allow his wife to do what she does to those children. Well, in all fairness to them, we don't really know. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. But I think I can't understand Harry being so cruel as to hiding them, all the secrecy around Archie's birth, all the weirdness going on there, to set them up for conspiracists and conspiracy theories. And I'm not saying Wally was a conspiracist. What Wally's videos were very much about was she'd say, look at this. This doesn't make sense. Why is that doing that? You all know what I'm talking about. You know, why is it here and there and wherever? So she was analysing, but there are people out there who can be very cruel and have conspiracy theories. And I mean, the things that have been said about little Louis missing, you know, he's got a finger missing. Imagine how that little guy is going to feel if he sees that. How devastating to a child. I think that's bang out of order. Yes, it's nice to know what they look like, but just don't start on kids. Don't start on kids. Their case will end up like the Smiths, who are now admitting that their marriage ended 7 years ago, but they were only putting on a front. Yes, absolutely. But will Archie and Lily know their national anthem? Oh, I know. Meghan's saying no one taught her that. I mean, did somebody have to teach her the song Happy Birthday, for God's sake? It's like a repetitive line, isn't it? Lady C always says, "Megnant, never pregnant." She says that children exist, but hinted they may not be hers. Yes, I mean, it's the line of succession thing. Yeah, I honestly think they should be taken off the website, Harry and Meghan, because they're not the working, you know, the family bit, the working royals, not the line of succession page. I mean, that's something else. But the rate they're going, hanging out with people like Omid Scobie, it won't be long, will it? Right, California no longer favours mother in custody cases and grandparents have virtually equal rights. Okay. The early years form social skills, communication skills. Yes, isn't it ironic that that's what Catherine is putting focus on? I wonder what she makes of all of this. I really do. I understand wanting a private life and protecting children, but they do everything to be in the limelight. They do. They do. It's almost as if she sees the children as competition. Yeah. In 2013, CNN had an article about Prince George's skin colour. I saw. The article was saying that the baby may have a dark hue, olive skin. Yes, I saw all of that. And I wonder if Netflix in The Crown, well, I'll tell you all about it, whatever Netflix do. Right, that thing about Louis Finger, it was just a camera angle. Yes, I know, but kids are really sensitive. Really sensitive. Can you imagine if someone made a do like that about Archie or Lily? Oh my God, we'd never hear the end of it, would we? You racist bastards. Would we? Oh, where's that comment on? Sure, MM is on Colombian marching counter. Well, I don't know, but I think Harry's admitted to. When they were first married, Meghan was always clutching Harry with the Markle claw. Yeah, or if you even see them at the same events together, really. If their lifestyles regarding alleged alcohol substance abuse is true, yeah, and I've heard that raised by other YouTubers before. I definitely have. Very glad things have changed. Can you imagine that duo going through family court? Oh, well, it wouldn't surprise me at all. At the rate Harry goes through court cases, and he doesn't seem to give a damn about what and whose privacy he's invading. You know, if anyone has a copy of that book spare, I mean, he's just blurting out all kinds of stuff about the royal family that I'm certain they just wouldn't want everybody to know. Teresa Bennett, hello. So glad you're back, little grandson here, so I'll watch replay. Right. The royal website, Royal Grift's biggest complaint. And I don't blame her. I don't blame her or any other American who feels their amendments being stomped all over. I don't blame her at all. I understand MM comment about your national anthem. Our national anthem has the same tune. Does it? All she had to do was remember the words, which should not have been hard for an actress. Interesting point. Yes. Archie comes from the neighbour down the road. Lily was a prams. Oh dear, you are naughty. Louis could show his middle finger in an old English custom to the American royals. I've now decided Kitty doesn't want to go out. She has just missed photo ops. Yeah, she's having a little wash at the moment. Aren't you, girl? Yeah, she's absolutely ecstatic to have us back. And we also have Lady Faith here on a fleeting visit with her boyfriend. So she's got Benji on another fleeting visit. She's got Faith. She's not sure about Faith's boyfriend because she doesn't know. And she's got me and Graham back. So here's her little tabby heart all at once today. OJ's children are absolutely beautiful. Michael Jackson's children are also beautiful. They are. What the hell is the problem with Meghan and Harry? Yeah, it's almost like the kids are going to grow up thinking, is there something wrong with me? Were you ashamed of me in some way? Harry wasn't kicked out of royal family. He said Prince William asked him to stay and said, I want you to be happy. Oh, hello. Are you going out? Oh, okay.
Braden wants to experience a Spanish Mackies.
Oh, right, okay. You want the car key?
Yeah.
I think it's on the barrel.
I've only just woken up, so.
Okay, I've got roast chicken.
He has been nagging me for an American honey mustard because they don't do it in England.
Okay.
and
Okay.
cheesy bacon chips. I'm not hungry. I'm not getting anything.
Okay. That's fine. I'll eat the roast dinner all on my own.
No, I'm not.
You're going to come and say hello, are you?
Hello. I've just woken up and need to brush my hair.
Because they got the same flight as us. Only, we're coming from a different part. We're coming from Crawley. And, well, I won't say where the other location is for obvious reasons, but I think most people know you're based in Crawley.
Coming from the Landover.
Yeah, so, and then we all met up on the plane, so they haven't been asleep either. They've been asleep this afternoon.
I've been awake for over 24 hours.
Are you glad to be back home? Yeah, for sure. For sure. The thing is, London's great, but we were in a hotel room with a bed. And there's only so much laying down on a bed watching TV that you can do. I mean, I like a chair. I like to sit in a chair. So, and it's obviously a hotel room's just not ideal, is it? It's not home. And then when you think, well, I've got to have something to eat, there's not really a kitchen, So that was all stuff to take into account. And obviously Graham wanted to relax back home for healing. Whatever money he had inherited from his mother and grandmother, Megan has spent on PR. Well, or lawyers, yeah, I believe. Something tells me Fiona has forgotten about roast chicken. Oh, no, I have remembered it. And actually, it's not exactly a roast chicken. It is. It's one of these pre-made things. There's no bone in it. And it's stuffed with apples and mushrooms and soaked in white wine or something. It's one of these pre-made things that you can buy. I thought, well, I'll give it a try. And I've roasted it with carrots and potatoes. Early Archie photos say that he had a lazy eye or something. Right. I don't think he does. I mean, he's just looked like Harry as a little boy. Right, guys, we are at 10 o'clock. So I think I'm going to wind it up there and go and eat my roast chicken, if that doesn't sound too disgusting now. Here is a question. Does Archie go to school or is he still in the... You people and your jokes. You're terrible. Terrible. No, I didn't know America's national anthem tune is from Drinking British Tune. Oh, I didn't know that. I lived in a hotel room for years when I danced. Yeah, it's challenging, isn't it, Linda? It is challenging. I suppose it's something you can adapt to. Right, well, thank you all very, very much for joining me. We'll start the Christmas lives. It's the 11th today, isn't it? Or the 12th? I'm not sure. Oh, I think it's the 12th. So the Crown's on in 2 days' time, the 14th. So we'll start doing the Christmas lives, and I'll try and add some Christmas decorations and Christmassy theme. And we will have some fun because nobody should be alone over Christmas. And we'll do it right up Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and probably through to New Year's Eve. Thank you all very, very much for joining the live. All 1,339 of you. That's awesome. Thank you very, very much. And I will see you on the live. I'll probably see you in a video before that, but I'll see you in the live on the 15th, whatever day of the week that is. I'm thinking probably Thursday. No, Friday, maybe. Good night, and may your God go with you.
Of course.